Here we are, the final video in the Predicting Rookie Rating series. It's been fun, it's been a shame that I couldn't cover every player everyone wanted to see, and hopefully it's been worth it. Today's division is the NFC West, which has got plenty of interesting rookies in it. As per usual, and for the final time, we go in order of the division standings, and that means we start with the Arizona Cardinals. Round 1, Robert Nkemdiche, defensive tackle, Ole Miss. He's an athletic freak for the position, but does come with a fair share of problems. I commend the Cardinals for taking him because they have the people that can keep him on the straight and narrow off the field, but also the people that can help him get it right on the field. I think a great comparison is Jadeveon Clowney. All the physical talent in the world with on-field flashes to match, but worrying inconsistencies in stats and tape. Clowney had plenty of critics coming in and hasn't proven them wrong yet. Here's hoping Nkemdiche can. All that said, he should come in at 79 as he is a top 10 talent. Round 3, Brandon Williams, cornerback, Texas A&M. Justin Bethel should start opposite Peterson, and nobody's playing nickel as long as Matthews on the field. But that doesn't mean Williams won't get chances to prove himself. Raw doesn't begin to describe a guy who's played corner for 1 year, but he does have crazy athletic skills. I can't see him being higher than 67, he's just too undeveloped at this point. Cue Richard Sherman comparisons. Round 4, Evan Boehm, center, Missouri. I actually like this guy. Of course there are some questions about how good he can be, but there are no questions about his toughness as he broke the school record for consecutive starts. He may very likely end up starting, but if he does, it will be in between two of the better guards in the league, which should really help. 73-74 seems right for him. Round 5, Marqui Christian, strong safety, Midwestern State. Who knows with this guy? He's from a small school but played really well there, but his role looks to be limited to box safety duties, which would put him low in the pecking order on a team full of hybrid stars that can play that role and more. I can't see him going above 65 at this point. Onto the Seahawks, round 1, Germain Ifedi, offensive guard, Texas A&M. You can't fix an entire position group in one draft, and the Seahawks didn't try, and Ifedi could turn out to be a great building block. I like the pick. There's maybe one or two guys that weren't taken at the time that I prefer, but what do I know? Ifedi can play tackle and guard, and so can Jamarcus Webb, so despite having some serious issues, the Seahawks can play around on the right side to see what works best. Silver linings, eh? There's no reason Ifedi should be lower than 78. Round 2, Duran Reed, defensive tackle, Alabama. This is one of my favorite picks in the draft for pure value. Reed may have been slightly better fitted in a 3-4 as an ineffective pass rusher, but with all the talent around him, he should dominate in run-stopping duties. I see Reed getting the same overall as Ifedi at 78, making this a pretty good class so far. Round 3, CJ Prosise, running back, Notre Dame. Now I know Seahawks fans are super hot on this guy, and I like him too, but I don't like his technique. Luckily that's something the coaches can fix, and he's a patient back that waits for holes and doesn't try and make them, and you can't coach that. He most likely won't start this year, but will find time as a mismatch weapon throughout the season. He's only played 1 full year at running back, so 73 seems fair. Round 3, Nick Vannett, tight end, Ohio State. No matter how good he is, you rarely see Graham 16 times a season, and Wilson isn't cemented in behind him, so Vannett has a decent shot at getting some decent playing time this year. He can block and line up all over the place, making him a pretty exciting prospect. He should be at 73 too. Onto the Rams, round 1, Jared Goff, quarterback, California. If Todd Gurley hadn't emerged as a budding superstar last season, I'd be worried about how much Goff cost the Rams. But outside of the offensive line, they've got themselves a serviceable offense for the first time in a long time. Goff is good, and with limited responsibility thanks to a very good running game and defense, he should play well. Goff should be an 81. Round 4, Tyler Higbee, tight end, Western Kentucky. When your second pick is in the 4th round, you have to take some calculated risks, and Higbee is exactly that. He's got some health concerns, but when healthy, the wide receiver convert can stretch the field from the tight end position. It makes sense to try and find as many new weapons for Goff as possible, and Higbee could come in at 70. Round 4, Pharoh Cooper, wide receiver, South Carolina. He's similar to Tavon Austin in the fact that once he's got the ball in his hands, he's the best. Although he's not as fast, but the similarities are useful because the Rams have just started to figure out how to use Austin, and Cooper can play the same role. The same plays that get the ball in Austin's hands will work well for Cooper. No need to rewrite the playbook. Like Higbee, he'll likely be a 70. Round 6, Tamarick Hemingway, tight end, South Carolina State. This is more likely insurance for Higbee than anything else, but Hemingway was a productive receiver. When the Redskins traded it all away for RG3, they also found Alfred Morris. Who knows, maybe the Rams got a future starter in the late rounds too. For now though, Hemingway will probably be lowly rated at around 68. On to the final team of the video and the series, the San Francisco 49ers. Round 1, DeForest Buckner, defensive end, Oregon. I like Buckner and he was definitely a top 10 talent, and the reunion happening in San Francisco will only help him. Everything is right here, scheme fit, team need, and I see him getting maybe as high as 80. Round 1, Joshua Garnett, offensive guard, Stanford. The 49ers traded back into the first round for Garnett, so you've got to think he's worth it. With this pick, the 49ers emerge as perhaps surprise candidates to be one of the few teams to have 2 rookies with 80 overalls, with the Jaguars being the only other team very likely to have it. That said, I see him more as a 79, but anything can happen. Round 3, Will Redmond, cornerback, Mississippi State. Injury saw him drop a round or even 2, so who knows exactly what he will bring to the 49ers. I worry that corners tend to have a tough time returning from knee injuries, but there's nothing to say he can't. I always struggle with cornerback ratings, but to me 71 seems right. Round 4, Rashard Robinson, cornerback, LSU. A quote from one analyst, an early candidate for the steal of the draft. Of course, at this point there's 100 candidates for the steal of the draft, but those words hold weight here. He's got off-field issues and has only started 8 games, but the talent is there, and LSU DBs have developed quite the reputation in the NFL in recent years. He could have gone much earlier, and that might just get him a 70 rating. That is it for this series, and as soon as Madden 17 comes out, I will be releasing a video looking at how my predictions weigh up against the actual ratings, and I'm looking forward to seeing how I did. At this moment in time, I feel like I probably overrated more people than I underrated, and that's probably down to me being an eternal optimist when it comes to the NFL. Sundays for the next couple of weeks will now be about predicting the upcoming season, so look out for that.